He was the golden boy of football, the American dream in motion, adored on the field, admired on the screen, and trusted in living rooms across the nation. But behind the charm and celebrity smile lurked a story that would shatter America's innocence. A story of violence, obsession, and crime. This is not just the story of O.J. Simpson, the athlete. This is the story of O.J. Simpson, the accused, the convict, the fallen star. What happens when a hero becomes a suspect? When fame collides with bloodshed? Today, we unravel the true crime saga of O.J. Simpson. Before we dive in further, hit the notification button, subscribe, and like the video for more true crime stories. Orenthal James Simpson, born July 9, 1947, in San Francisco. Childhood wasn't easy. Poverty, absent father, and brushes with the law as a teenager. But one thing set him apart: raw athletic talent. At USC, he became a legend. By 1968, he had won the Heisman Trophy. By the 1970s, he was the face of the NFL, rushing for over 2,000 yards in a season, breaking records that seemed impossible. And America loved him. He wasn't just a football player. He became the star of commercials, Hollywood movies, and primetime television. O.J. Simpson wasn't just an athlete. He was a brand. Behind the stadium lights and the Hollywood cameras, O.J. Simpson's personal life was a storm of love, betrayal, and tragedy. To the world, he was the Juice, a football legend who broke records and redefined fame for athletes. But at home, behind closed doors, the story grew darker. O.J. first married Marguerite Whitley in 1967, before he became a household name. Their marriage seemed steady in the early years, blessed with 3 children: Arnell, born in 1968, Jason, born in 1970, and Aaron, born in 1977. But fame had its cost. O.J.'s growing celebrity status, late nights, and alleged infidelities strained the relationship. Tragedy struck in 1979 when Aaron, only 2 years old, drowned in the family swimming pool, a devastating loss that shattered what little stability the marriage still had. By 1979, the couple divorced, leaving scars that fame could not cover. Then came Nicole Brown. O.J. met her when she was just 18 and working as a waitress at a Beverly Hills nightclub. Their romance was instant and intoxicating, glamorous on the outside, but turbulent within. They married in 1985 and had 2 children: Sydney, born 1985, and Justin, born 1988. On the surface, they were a picture-perfect Hollywood family. The famous athlete, the beautiful young wife, the smiling kids. But Nicole's diaries and later testimonies told another story, one of control, jealousy, and violence. Neighbors whispered about shouting matches. Police were called to their Brentwood estate multiple times for domestic disputes, though O.J.'s celebrity often shielded him from consequences. Nicole confided to friends that she feared for her life. The marriage collapsed in 1992, with Nicole filing for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. Yet even after the divorce, their lives remained entangled, bound by children, history, and a volatile chemistry that refused to fade. 2 years later, the nightmare became reality. It was supposed to be an ordinary Sunday evening in Brentwood, but just past midnight on June 12, 1994, blood painted a different story. Outside the condo of Nicole Brown Simpson, 2 bodies would soon be discovered, bodies that bore the signs of unimaginable violence. Ron Goldman, a 25-year-old waiter and aspiring actor, had gone to Nicole's home to return a pair of sunglasses left at the restaurant where he worked. But what should have been a simple good deed ended in terror. Ron Goldman was attacked with a knife in a frenzy so violent that it told investigators one thing: this was personal. He was stabbed 22 times. His chest, his neck, his abdomen. Each strike deeper, each cut more desperate. Defensive wounds scarred his hands and arms, signs that he fought, clawed, and struggled until the very end. Nicole Brown's body lay nearby. Her throat had been slashed with such force that it nearly decapitated her. 2 lives ended in brutality, their final moments silent screams lost in the night air. The sheer rage of the attack immediately raised one question: who hated them enough to kill this way? The evidence, from bloody footprints to DNA traces, led detectives straight toward one name, OJ Simpson. For Sydney and Justin, life was never the same. They became orphans of circumstance, living in the shadow of a trial where their father stood accused of their mother's murder. To the world, OJ was still the football legend, the star of commercials, the charming face of America. But to investigators, the savagery of 22 stab wounds told a darker story, one of obsession, control, and rage boiling beneath the surface. And yet, despite the blood, despite the brutality, despite the violence etched into Ron Goldman's body, the jury would never convict O.J. Simpson for the murders. In 1995, he walked out of court a free man. But for the families of Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman, the images of that night, the silence, the knife, the 22 wounds, will never fade. America wasn't ready for what happened next. It was June 13, 1994. Los Angeles was still reeling from the shocking news. Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman lay dead, brutally stabbed outside Nicole's Brentwood condo. Detectives fanned out across the city, following any thread that could lead them to the killer. One thread led them straight to O.J. Simpson's Rockingham estate. What they found there would ignite one of the most hotly contested trials in American history. A white Ford Bronco sat quietly in the driveway, its metallic frame now a crime scene. As investigators approached, their flashlights swept across the vehicle, revealing something chilling. A smear of blood on the driver's side door handle. It wasn't a splash, it wasn't dust. It was a deliberate, visible stain, darkened by the night but undeniable under the harsh glare of police lights. The sight froze the officers. Blood on OJ's car, the same night his ex-wife and her friend were butchered. Could it be Nicole's? Could it be Goldman's? Or was it OJ's own? When crime scene technicians swabbed the handle and collected samples, the evidence began to mount. Later analysis would suggest the blood matched not just the victims, but OJ himself. This small, damning detail, a simple smear of blood on a car door, became a central piece in the prosecution's narrative. That Simpson had murdered Nicole and Goldman, then driven home in the Bronco, unknowingly leaving behind the trace of his crime. But in the courtroom, what seemed like concrete evidence turned into a battlefield. The defense argued contamination. They attacked the LAPD's handling of the scene, suggesting sloppy police work or even deliberate planting of evidence. The blood on the Bronco became a symbol, not just of violence but of doubt. To some, it was the mark of a killer. To others, it was the mark of a police force willing to frame a black man to secure a conviction. For the jury, those few drops of blood carried a weight heavier than mountains of testimony. And when the trial of the century concluded, it was clear that the stain on the car door handle wasn't just physical. It was metaphorical, staining America's perception of justice forever. June 17, 1994. The nation held its breath as the white Ford Bronco crept down Los Angeles freeways, helicopters swarming above and millions watching live on television. Inside, O.J. Simpson sat in the back seat, his reputation shattered, his future hanging by a thread. When police finally stopped the vehicle and searched it, they uncovered more than just a fleeing football legend. They found a loaded .357 Magnum tucked away inside. To investigators, the gun wasn't just a weapon. It was a chilling symbol of desperation, of a man cornered by the weight of evidence and suspicion. Questions burned like wildfire. Was O.J. running from justice or preparing for something far darker? That gun in the Bronco became one of the most haunting details of the chase. A reminder that the story could have ended not in a courtroom, but in tragedy on the highway. It wasn't just a chase. It was a nation's hero crumbling in real time. What followed was dubbed the trial of the century. The prosecution laid out DNA evidence, blood-stained gloves, and a violent history. The defense countered with claims of police corruption and racism in the LAPD. And then came the moment that defined the trial. The glove. When O.J. tried it on and struggled to fit it, Johnny Cochran uttered the line that would echo in history. "If it doesn't fit, you must acquit." On October 3, 1995, the jury delivered its verdict, not guilty. But the story was far from over. Though acquitted in criminal court, In 1997, a civil jury found O.J. Simpson liable for the wrongful deaths of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. He was ordered to pay $33.5 million, but O.J. never paid in full. His lavish lifestyle crumbled, and debts followed him everywhere. In 2007, more than a decade after the murders, O.J. was back in headlines, this time in Las Vegas. Armed with a group of men, Simpson stormed a hotel room to reclaim sports memorabilia he claimed was stolen from him. Guns were drawn, the crime was violent, and the law was swift. In 2008, O.J. Simpson was convicted of armed robbery and kidnapping. The sentence: 33 years in prison. O.J. Simpson, once a sports icon, was now inmate number 1027820. Behind bars, the cheers of the stadium were replaced by the clang of prison gates. After 9 years, in 2017, O.J. was granted parole. He walked out a free man, but a man forever imprisoned by his past. O.J. Simpson's story is one of the greatest falls from grace in American history. From Heisman glory to murder suspicion. From beloved hero to convicted felon. From the roar of stadiums to the silence of prison walls. But more than a story about O.J., this is a story about America. About race, fame, justice, and violence. About the victims, Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman, whose names should never be forgotten. So when you hear the name O.J. Simpson, do you remember the football legend or the accused killer? That is the question America still struggles to answer.